try to shift our attention to something more uplifting. Tribes Britannia, the Prince and Princess of Wales snorkeling in the Bahamas to see the replanting of coral. And well, this video is making the rounds. Needless to say, this was an instant hit with the fans of the royal family, and especially fans of Prince William, for obvious reasons that don't require a body language analyst to reveal why this video had so many comments on Twitter, comments of all kinds. And one of those comments happened to be this one. I know this is for earshot, but Prince William has got cake. And you have to understand that English is not my mother tongue, that I am still learning. And I might ask silly questions like, what does cake mean in this context? Because yes, I am quite naive, and I thought that they were talking about an actual cake. You know, the one made with flour, eggs, and sugar, because why not? Everybody loves cakes. But no, it so happens that cake in this context means a certain part of William's body that is well developed, and I don't know how I dare to put this picture right there on a slide, but there goes my OB. As for Catherine, mad respect to Princess Catherine for diving with the rings on. I don't think I could do that for fear of them slipping off my fingers. This was from Isa War on Twitter. And well, yes, in Catherine's case, she was a sight to behold, swimming on the water. And I have to say that whoever is producing these videos, this is top-notch content. But you know how people are talking about this. Like, William and Catherine want to take center stage and displace the king and queen, which is a bit ridiculous. Speaking about the king, a new portrait was revealed a couple days ago. And you know that I'm quite critical when a new portrait drops, no matter of which member of the royal family or which technique was used. But in this case, I have very few complaints about this black and white photo. The pose, the facial expression, the lighting, and the contrast are just spot on. It's hard to not remember that other awesome black and white photo of His Majesty back when he was the Prince of Wales. The current one as king has a higher contrast, so that's why it looks so powerful. Now, let's talk about Remembrance 2023. The British royal family's Remembrance Day celebrations in 2023 were marked by several significant events, reflecting the solemnity and respect inherent in this day of remembrance. On Saturday, November 11, the royal family attended the annual Royal British Legion Festival of Remembrance at the Royal Albert Hall. This event is a poignant tribute to the members of the armed forces who have died in the line of duty. Their Majesties, the King and Queen, were accompanied by other members of the royal family, of course, including the Prince and Princess of Wales, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, the Princess Royal, and Vice Admiral Cis Tim Lawrence. The Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, if I remember correctly, and the Duke of Kent. And yes, Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Thompson was there as well. In addition to this, the Queen participated in the Field of Remembrance at Westminster Abbey, planting her own cross of remembrance following prayers and a 2-minute silence. This event, by the way, marking its 95th anniversary in 2023, gathered serving members of the armed forces, veterans, and forces families to honor the memory of friends, colleagues, and loved ones lost in service. The Queen also engaged with veterans, armed forces, personnel, and supporters of the Poppy Factory at the event. And on Sunday, November 12th, the National Service of Remembrance at Cenotaph on Remembrance Sunday was attended by the King and Queen, along with other members of the royal family. The King, in his role as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, led the nation in remembrance and laid a wreath at the cenotaph. The design of his wreath closely resemble that produced for His Majesty King George VI, featuring 41 open-style poppy petals mounted on an arrangement of black leaves with a ribbon bearing the king's racing colors. The Queen, watching the service from the balcony of the Foreign, Commonwealth, and Development Building, had a wreath laid on her behalf by her equerry. And other royal family members, including the Prince of Wales, the Princess Royal, and the Duke of Edinburgh, also laid wreaths. The Princess Royal additionally took the salute as they marched past the veteran organizations on Horse Guards Parade. And here's William at the cenotaph. You can just make out the white flowers forming the Prince of Wales feathers at the top of his wreath. William was wearing his British Army Blues and Royals RHG parade coat, and Catherine was wearing her Fleet Air arm brooch. I also wanted to feature this illustration by Amy Duarte Designs on Instagram. She's got quite a few illustrations of Catherine in this very elegant style that I know that you will enjoy. You know that I love supporting my fellow artists whenever I can. So go visit her page on Instagram. And speaking of great artists, the statues of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth were unveiled, and they have earned well-deserved praise. Superb statues, says Charles Voice Mail. The statues created by artist Poppy Field complete the building by filling the niches of its north porch, would have been empty since 1871, and its south porch, added in 2003. Should have commissioned her to do the one of Di. I agree. And what I found most remarkable was the body language of both statues. Whether it's Prince Philip's casual stride of how magnanimous Her late Majesty looks, I think the artist did a great job. And speaking of Prince Philip, I want to share with you this clip that the British Prince brought to my attention on Twitter. The British Prince, the Duchess of Edinburgh, almost cries when she is caught off guard with a question about Prince Philip. The family are devastated by the loss of him and Queen Elizabeth. I hear Sophie's love and feel her pain. If you still think Beatrice is close with the LA duo, then I'm lost. You know, with all these rumors that they are talking about, that Beatrice is the same as Eugene, but that's something that we will be talking in tomorrow's live. But I'm going to play just part of this to try to pause here because it began running and unmute here. I'm going to play just part of the video so not trigger any copyright issues, but you can see the entire clip in the British Princess Twitter account.
We were lucky enough to go to Scotland for half term, and I don't know if you remember the photograph that I took.
You took a
Yeah.
photo.
So I think they'll come and go, but you have to let them come and let them go. It's a bit of an oh my goodness moment. You know, I'd be fine, absolutely fine, and then something happened, or you'd hear a piece of music, or you'd do something, and suddenly you would, you'd get taken off the knees. So there'll be lots of moments like that, but it's good to remember.
My impression is that Sophie echoes the feeling of millions of people who love not only Prince Philip, but also Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth. And it's that shared emotion in which we have this bond. That it can be really emotional remembering these moments, even if we are just living it through the eyes of some of its protagonists.